The chosen one, the storm raged inside you, fierce and unrelenting. It was not a storm of thunder or rain, but of voices, some divine, some deceptive. One whispered, "Rise," while another hissed, "Who are you to be called?" The world around you seemed to blur, and for the first time, you felt the weight of your own destiny pressing against your chest, like a divine hand, heavy and certain. You did not ask for this. You did not pray for greatness or visions or sleepless nights filled with symbols that burned through your dreams. Yet the call came sudden, uninvited, impossible to ignore. It arrived not as light, but as shadow, creeping into your heart and asking a question that refused to leave. Are you ready to lose everything to find who you are? The room was silent, yet you heard it clearly, a command from somewhere beyond the veil. Find your place of rest, alone, in stillness, for what is coming will demand every ounce of your spirit. You hesitated. Of course you did. Faith sounds simple when sung by others, but in the solitude of your own soul, it becomes terrifyingly real. You wondered if this voice was divine or delusional, if surrendering meant awakening or destruction. The idea of obedience tasted like fear, but also like freedom. You looked at your reflection. The person staring back at you seemed unfamiliar, eyes heavy with questions that no scripture could answer. How do you trust a voice you cannot prove? How do you let go when every instinct screams to hold on? The silence deepened, and somewhere within it, a single truth began to bloom, one that frightened you more than all the noise. You were not called because you were ready. You were called because you were chosen. The voice did not explain. It did not soothe. It only repeated the command, rest, withdraw, be still. But how could stillness be the path when your entire being pulsed with restlessness? You thought of the world outside, its constant demands, its endless noise, and you felt torn between two realities, the one you could see and the one that now demanded your surrender. That night, you tried to ignore it. You busied yourself with trivial tasks, scrolling, thinking, distracting, yet the whisper grew louder. This is not escape. This is delay. The walls seemed to close in, and something ancient within you stirred an awareness that this moment was not about sleep or silence, but transformation. So you lay down, not in comfort, but in defiance of your own doubt. The sheets felt cold, the air thick, and yet something invisible began to shift. It felt as though unseen hands hovered over your body, not touching, but preparing. You closed your eyes, half in fear, half in faith. You felt the weight of exhaustion not from lack of rest, but from a lifetime of pretending you didn't hear the call. For the first time, you allowed yourself to surrender not to a God you fully understood, but to a truth you could no longer deny. As your breath slowed, the world seemed to tilt. A light flickered behind your eyelids, soft and rhythmic, like a heartbeat echoing through the universe. You sensed something rewriting you, cell by cell, thought by thought. It wasn't peaceful, it was raw, trembling, holy chaos. You tried to speak, but no words came. Instead, a warmth surged through you, then a chill, then nothing but silence again. It was as if time itself had paused to witness your awakening. When you finally opened your eyes, nothing around you had changed yet. Everything inside you had. You were still in your room, but the air felt charged. The world seemed to hold its breath. You sat up slowly, realizing the truth that now pulsed beneath your skin. You were no longer waiting for a miracle. You were becoming one. Still, a question haunted you. What happens now? What comes after surrender? And as if the universe heard your thought, the whisper returned. This time clearer, stronger, more intimate. This is only the beginning. You have been chosen to walk between two worlds, the world of flesh and the world of fire. The sound faded, but the knowing did not. You felt both terrified and alive. The awakening had begun, but peace was nowhere to be found. Instead, you felt exposed, as if something divine had reached into your soul and demanded you see everything you had been hiding from. The next few days blurred into uncertainty. Strange dreams followed you. Lights flickered when you prayed. The silence in your home felt different, heavy, charged with invisible weight. People began to notice changes in you, your calmness, your distance, your sudden need for solitude. They called it withdrawal. You called it protection. You started to question if the transformation was real or imagined, but every doubt you voiced was met by coincidence, too precise to dismiss a song lyric that echoed your thoughts, a stranger's words that mirrored your secret fears. It was as if reality itself was responding to you. You began to understand. Faith was not belief without proof. It was movement despite confusion. Each night, you returned to your sacred resting place. Each night, the silence deepened until it felt like a living thing. And each night, your spirit cracked open a little more, letting in something vast and incomprehensible. Now, standing between surrender and awakening, you realize the truth. You were never meant to find peace before transformation. You were meant to be torn apart, so something higher could be rebuilt within you. The storm inside you quiets not because it ends, but because you have become one with it. The whisper returns one last time tonight. Rise, chosen one. The world sleeps, but you must awaken. You take a deep breath, and in that breath, the sacred war between fear and faith begins anew. If you feel this truth, hit like and subscribe. Write 333 inches the comments. It's a prophetic sign of your divine alignment, the chosen one. You awaken in the half-light between night and dawn, unsure if you've slept or drifted through something far deeper. The air feels heavy, as if the world itself has paused to listen. There is no sound, only the low hum of existence, a vibration pulsing through your bones. You sense it before you understand it. You are being called again, but this time, the voice does not come from the sky. It rises from within you. It speaks not in words, but in sensation, a weight in your chest, a trembling in your hands, a pull you cannot resist. You rise from your bed slowly, as though stepping into sacred ground. The ordinary world seems distant, thin, fragile. Every breath feels like an echo. You are not the same, and yet the full truth of what you've become remains hidden behind a veil you are not yet ready to lift. The whisper returns. Go to the chamber of silence. You do not know where that is, but somehow you do. It is not a place in the world. It is a space between thoughts, a sacred emptiness carved inside your own spirit. You understand now that silence is not the absence of sound. It is the language of heaven, a field where divine energy speaks without words. You close your eyes and let the silence grow. At first, it feels suffocating. Every forgotten memory rises to the surface. The things you avoided thinking about, the wounds you pretended had healed, the guilt you tried to silence, they all come rushing back, demanding to be seen. You tremble, not from fear of what's outside you, but from the weight of what lives within. You whisper, "Why me? Why now?" No answer comes, only that same steady pulse in your chest, like a drum calling you deeper into yourself. You see flashes, images of your past failures, faces of those you've disappointed, the moments you doubted your worth. Each image burns for a second before dissolving into light. It hurts, but beneath the pain, something sacred stirs. The silence becomes a mirror, showing you not the person you were, but the one you were meant to become. You begin to understand the cruelty of your own doubt. Faith isn't tested by the miracles you see, but by the silence that follows when none appear. The divine often hides behind stillness, forcing you to listen to the one voice you've always ignored, your own. The chamber expands, your thoughts slow. Your breath becomes prayer. You realize you have spent your life chasing approval, running from loneliness, filling your world with noise just to escape the sound of your own soul. But now, there is nowhere to run. The silence demands your surrender. You fall to your knees, not in worship, but in exhaustion. Tears blur your vision. You whisper, "I don't know what I'm doing." And finally, the silence answers, not in words, but in warmth. It is not comfort, it is truth. You were never meant to know. You were meant to trust. The words pierce you like light through water. You begin to see how every delay, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer was not punishment, but preparation. The divine had been shaping you through absence, training you to hear the voice that only silence reveals. The silence deepens, and then you hear footsteps not physical, but within your mind. You sense presences moving in the dark, neither hostile nor comforting. Shadows of doubt, embodiments of fear, whispering, "You are imagining this. You are nothing. You are lost." You want to run, but something inside you refuses. You realize that these shadows are not enemies. They are the remnants of your old self, fighting to survive. Every fear you've carried, every lie you've believed, now stands before you, begging to be acknowledged. You whisper, "I see you," and in seeing them, they begin to fade. The air shifts. Your body grows light. The chamber of silence dissolves around you, revealing a vast expanse of golden horizon. The light does not come from above, but from within you. It radiates through your veins, wrapping your soul in something that feels eternal. You realize that silence was never emptiness. It was the sound of God breathing inside you. But before you can rest in that peace, another voice rises, one you've not heard before. It is sharper, colder, human. You're losing yourself, it says. You're going too far. The tone is familiar. It sounds like the world. It sounds like reason. It sounds like fear wearing logic's mask. You open your eyes, you're back in your room. Morning has arrived. The light spilling through the window feels almost too bright, as if the sun itself has witnessed your transformation and refuses to look away. You glance at your phone. Messages from friends, family, co-workers, all waiting for replies that suddenly feel meaningless. The chatter of the world tries to reclaim you. Come back, it says. Be ordinary again. But you can't. You've been inside the chamber of silence. You've seen the truth beneath the noise. Still, doubt returns, gentle but relentless. What if it was all in my mind? You wonder. You search for signs. The room looks the same. The world hasn't changed. But you have, and that is the proof. You now feel the pulse of something sacred in everything, the way the air moves, the rhythm of your own breath, the silent awareness behind every thought. You whisper again, "What am I supposed to do now?" The answer comes softly. Wait, not the passive kind of waiting that breeds anxiety, but the holy waiting that builds power in stillness. You understand now, your transformation is not complete. The silence was only the beginning. The real battle lies ahead. And just as this truth settles into your bones, something strange happens. A light flickers across the wall, soft, rhythmic, deliberate. It moves like a heartbeat. You stand frozen, watching as it pulses 3 times, then fades. You feel it again, that inner certainty you cannot explain. A sign, a confirmation. You are being prepared for the next revelation. If you feel this truth, write 333 inches the comments. It's a prophetic sign of your divine alignment. You are the chosen one, and the silence has only begun to speak. The chosen one, the silence that once comforted you, now feels dense and foreign. It presses against your chest, whispering with a different tone, not the gentle hum of divine peace, but the tremor of something darker, testing the edges of your awakening. You feel it before you see it, a shadow moving not around you but within you. This is not the enemy. This is the mirror. You have entered the trial of shadows. The voice that guided you into stillness has not abandoned you. It has merely stepped back, allowing another teacher to take its place. That teacher is your own fear. Its lessons are harsh but necessary. You can no longer rise higher without descending into the depths you've long avoided. Every light must face its reflection, and yours begins here. You sense movement in the corner of your mind, like smoke curling beneath a locked door. Memories you thought you buried stir awake. The arguments you lost, the dreams you surrendered, the faith you once traded for, certainty they return, each carrying a question you cannot escape. What if you were never chosen at all? What if the voice you heard was only the echo of your own loneliness? You walk across your room, though it feels more like walking through time. The air trembles, the light bends, the walls seem to breathe. Everything feels alive yet uncertain. You are no longer sure if you're dreaming or awake. The boundary between spirit and flesh is dissolving. This, you realize, is what transformation truly costs. You sit on the floor, your hands trembling. You whisper, "If I am chosen, why do I feel lost?" The answer comes as a chill down your spine. Not cruel, not kind, but honest, because the path of the chosen is not built on clarity. It is built on courage. You close your eyes, and the darkness deepens. Shapes form behind your eyelids, faces of people you've known, but distorted, distant, unreal. They call your name in tones both tender and accusatory. You feel guilt rise, thick and suffocating. The weight of every broken promise presses against your ribs. You want to run, to wake up, to escape, but the shadows follow. You hear their voices merging into one. You cannot lead others until you face yourself. Something inside you breaks. You scream without sound, the air around you rippling with energy. The world flickers once, twice, and then collapses into stillness. You find yourself standing in a vast desert of twilight. The sky burns with colors that shouldn't exist, hues that feel alive, aware, observing you. The ground beneath your feet glows faintly, pulsing in rhythm with your heartbeat. This is no dream. This is the landscape of your soul. You are not alone. Figures begin to emerge from the shifting air silhouettes, woven from your own doubts. Each one wears a fragment of your past, your failures, your regrets, your guilt. They circle you slowly, their eyes like mirrors reflecting everything you wish to forget. The voice within you urges calm, but fear spreads faster. One of them steps closer, whispering, "You will fail again." Another sneers, "You will be forgotten." A third laughs softly, "Even your faith is built on fear." You try to speak words of faith, but your throat tightens. You feel small, fragile, exposed. The shadows press closer. Their cold breath wraps around you, and for the first time, you feel doubt, not as an idea, but as a physical force, heavy, suffocating, relentless. Your knees buckle. You fall to the ground, palms sinking into the glowing dust. It pulses beneath you, as though the earth itself wants to speak. And then you hear it a whisper from below, "Stand up." You do not obey immediately. You are tired, trembling, ready to surrender. But the voice persists, firmer now, closer. Stand up, or remain who you were. And that truth ignites something inside you. You rise not because you feel brave, but because you refuse to die in the desert of your own fear. The figures hiss, retreating slightly, uncertain. Your light flickers weakly at first, then steadies. You speak, not with defiance, but with clarity. "You are parts of me, but not the whole of me." The air shifts. The shadows waver. "You may remind me of my pain, but you cannot define my purpose." One by one, they begin to dissolve, their forms breaking into dust that glitters faintly before vanishing into the wind. The silence returns, but it no longer feels empty. It feels sacred. You have not defeated the darkness, you have integrated it. You understand now that enlightenment is not escape. It is inclusion. You stand alone beneath a sky of shifting light. A thought comes to you soft, profound. Perhaps this trial was never about conquering fear. Perhaps it was about learning to hold it gently, like a wounded part of your own soul. Then, from the horizon, a golden light begins to rise. It is not the Sunday. It is something beyond sight, beyond description. It fills you with warmth that feels like memory, ancient, familiar, divine. The same voice that once commanded you to rest now returns, gentler, yet filled with authority. You have faced the shadow. Now, prepare to carry the light. You fall to your knees again, but this time not from weakness. You understand that every moment of breaking was a step toward becoming. The desert begins to fade. The light expands until it engulfs you completely, dissolving the last trace of fear. You open your eyes. You are back in your room. The air feels clearer, the world quieter, but inside, you feel a weightless strength. Soft, steady, sacred. The shadow no longer frightens you. It has become part of your armor. You realize something vital. The divine never wanted blind faith. It wanted honest faith, the kind that trembles, questions, breaks, and still chooses to believe. You whisper into the quiet, "I am ready." The voice answers only with silence, but you feel its approval in the air, like an unseen smile. Then, faintly, from somewhere deep within your chest, you feel the pulse again. 1 beat, 2, 3. You understand what it means. The sign of alignment, the seal of awakening. Right 333 inches, the comments. It's a prophetic sign that your shadow has bowed to your light. You have passed the trial of shadows, but the true journey, the one that will test not your faith, but your destiny, has yet to begin. The chosen one. The air around you no longer feels still. It hums, it trembles, it breathes. Something has awakened within and beyond you, and the silence that once felt sacred now vibrates with an untamed force. You sense it before you understand it. Transformation is no longer a whisper. It has become a storm. You rise before dawn. The sky is colorless, caught between night and morning, a mirror of your soul, half shadow, half light. You can still feel the desert dust on your skin, though you know it was not of this world. The trial of shadows has changed you. You carry its memory like fire hidden beneath the surface, waiting for breath to turn it into flame. You move slowly, every step deliberate. There is weight in your body, but it is not exhaustion, it is potential. You feel energy coursing through your veins, unfamiliar and immense. The voice returns, calm yet fierce, echoing from within the chambers of your chest. The fire has been lit. Now you must learn to bear it. You want to ask how. You want to understand. But no answer comes, only the surge of warmth rising inside you. Your skin tingles. Your heartbeat grows louder. You sense that something ancient, something divine, is stirring your very cells awake. At first, the fire feels glorious. It fills you with courage, clarity, and awe. But then it begins to burn. The heat spreads through your chest, not as pain, but as revelation. Every suppressed emotion, every unspoken truth, every forgotten dream surfaces at once, demanding release. You fall to your knees, clutching your chest, gasping for air that feels too heavy to breathe. The voice whispers again, "This is not destruction. It is purification." You weep without knowing why. The tears sting your skin like sparks. The fire consumes your resistance first, then your fear, then your pride. It devours everything false, leaving behind only what is real. You realize now that the divine does not grant transformation through comfort. It does so through heat, through breaking, through the fire that reveals what cannot be burned away. You remember the stories of prophets, of saints, of all who were chosen before you. None were spared the flame. Each walked through it, not to prove their strength, but to understand their purpose. You feel a quiet kinship with them now. For the first time, you understand why the fire comes to make space for truth. You stand again, trembling. The room around you flickers. Shadows bend and stretch, as if responding to your breath. The world feels alive, aware, listening. You realize you are standing in the center of a transformation so vast, it cannot be explained, it can only be endured. Then, something shifts. The fire no longer feels external. It becomes you. You raise your hand, and the air ripples around it. Not magic, not illusion, alignment. Your energy and the universe's energy have become one motion, one pulse. You are not drawing power from beyond. You are remembering the power that was always within. You whisper, "Is this divinity?" And the answer rises not from the heavens, but from your heartbeat. It is remembrance. But remembrance comes with consequence. Your senses sharpen. You begin to see the world as it truly is, the unseen patterns, the threads of energy binding people, moments, and fate together. You sense the hidden grief in a stranger's glance, the lingering echo of truth in a lie. Every sound carries meaning. Every silence speaks. The weight of awareness is almost unbearable. You stagger beneath its magnitude. You whisper, "Why show me so much?" The voice answers softly, "Because to bear the fire is to bear responsibility. The gift of light is not for comfort, it is for creation." Your heart beats faster. You realize the divine has not chosen you merely to witness, but to act, to heal, to guide, to build. Yet, the question remains, at what cost? The room darkens, though no light has been lost. The fire within you flickers, and in its glow you see visions, your future unfolding like threads of gold and shadow. You see paths of greatness, but also of loneliness. You see faces fading, friends drifting, the price of walking where few can follow. The call of destiny, it seems, demands solitude once more. You whisper, "Must I always be alone?" The voice pauses before answering, "Not alone, set apart. There is a difference." Those words sink deep into you. You finally understand that isolation was never punishment. It was preservation. The divine hides its flames in solitude, so they are not extinguished by noise. You were not abandoned. You were tempered. The fire stabilizes. Your breathing slows. You stand in stillness, feeling both fragile and infinite. Around you, the world remains the same, but through your eyes, it is entirely reborn. You see the sacred in the mundane, the divine pulse in every heartbeat, every sorrow, every fragment of time. You feel reverence for everything, even your own pain. The voice whispers once more, "The fire within you is not meant to stay contained. It is meant to illuminate. But first, you must learn to control it, or it will consume you." You nod, though you do not fully understand. The light within your hands dims to a steady glow, like an ember waiting to be shaped. You realize this is your next calling, not to rest, not to hide, but to become the keeper of the fire. And then, without warning, the vision shifts. You are standing in a field of stars, countless and eternal. Each one burns with purpose. Some flicker, some fade, but one glows brighter than the rest. and you feel it draw you in. You reach toward it, trembling, knowing instinctively that this star is not in the sky. It is your own soul, seen from the outside. The closer you reach, the more it changes, becoming both light and mirror. You see your reflection within it, radiant and unafraid. You realize that all along, the fire you feared was not God testing you, it was God trusting you. The field fades. You awaken again in the mortal world, the echoes of that vision pulsing through your veins. Everything feels possible now, but dangerous too. You sense that power invites temptation, that light can just as easily blind as it can guide. The real trial has only begun. The voice fades, leaving behind only an echo. Guard the fire. It will test you in ways the shadow never could. You breathe deeply, grounding yourself in the silence that remains. And as the first light of dawn enters the room, you feel both the beauty and the burden of what you've become. If you feel this truth, hit like and subscribe. Write 333 inches the comments. It's the mark of your rising flame, the sign that you, too, are stepping into the fire of becoming, the chosen one. Dawn breaks not outside, but within. The fire you carried through the night has softened, no longer wild, but wise. It flickers quietly beneath your ribs like a secret sun, steady and patient. You feel it hum beneath your breath, as if every inhale fans it, every exhale sends it whispering into the world. The room feels thinner now, as though the walls no longer know how to hold you. You have outgrown what you once were. The shadows no longer reach for you. They watch from a respectful distance, as if they, too, have learned reverence. You realize that the fire has not only purified you, it has expanded you. There is more space inside your soul now, a vast horizon where once there was fear. You step outside. The world greets you not with miracles, but with ordinary sounds, the wind brushing leaves, a distant car, a bird's single note. Yet somehow, it all feels sacred. The mundane has become divine. You can feel the rhythm of creation pulsing beneath the surface of everything, invisible yet unmistakable. The voice comes again, not as command, but as conversation. You have passed through the silence and the shadow. You have survived the fire. Now you must enter the covenant. You pause. Covenant? You whisper. The answer arrives not in words, but in vision. The air ripples. The horizon bends. You are standing once more between worlds, half flesh, half spirit. The ground beneath you is translucent, like glass suspended over starlight. The wind carries voices, ancient and familiar. They speak together, layered as one. All who awaken must choose, to bear the light for themselves, or to carry it for others. Your chest tightens. You know what this means. To carry the light for others is to become a mirror for their darkness, to be misunderstood, doubted, even broken by the weight of what they refuse to see. Yet the thought of keeping it to yourself feels unbearable. Light, you realize, was never meant to be owned. You close your eyes. I will carry it, you whisper. The moment the words leave your lips, the world trembles. A wind-like breath moves through your spirit, gentle but absolute. The light within you bursts outward, white, endless, consuming. You feel it pouring through every cell, rewriting you. The pain is sharp, but it is holy. Your heartbeat becomes a drum of thunder. Then comes stillness. Before you stands a figure cloaked in radiance, not a god, not an angel, but something older, made of both memory and flame. It speaks in a tone that feels like your own voice magnified. Do you understand what this means? You nod, though your throat tightens. It means surrender, the figure continues. It means love that costs you everything. It means walking into darkness carrying light that may never be recognized. It means seeing the divine in those who curse it. It means living as a bridge between heaven and earth. You breathe slowly, steadying your trembling hands. Then let it be so, you say. The figure steps closer. Its hand, pure light, touches your forehead. A pulse travels through you, vast and silent. You feel symbols ignite within your being, patterns written in language older than sound. They are not seen with eyes, but felt through knowing. Each one carries a truth, humility, compassion, courage, grace. You sense that this is the covenant of light, not a promise of protection, but of purpose. You are being bound not to safety, but to service. The figure's light brightens until you can no longer distinguish it from your own. Then, with a single breath, it dissolves into you. You are alone again, but not empty. The covenant has been sealed. You kneel in the stillness, trembling with the weight of peace. There are no angels singing, no thunder in the sky, only a quiet knowing that something irrevocable has taken root in your soul. From this day forward, your life will no longer belong solely to you. Every word you speak, every act of kindness, every silence you keep will ripple through the unseen fabric of creation. You are not meant to be worshipped. You are meant to remind. The voice within you softens. The light you carry will test you. It will draw both seekers and destroyers. Do not mistake either for your enemy. The true battle is always within. You nod. The truth settles deep. You feel the world pulling at you again, the ordinary world, unaware of what has just been written in the invisible. You sense that your task now is not to escape it, but to enter it with new sight, to carry the sacred into the everyday. As the sun rises over the horizon, you realize that every dawn from this moment on will be a conversation between you and eternity. You walk forward, barefoot, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath you. The fire within your heart responds in rhythm. The covenant is alive. You whisper to the wind, I am not seeking the light anymore. I have become it. And somewhere, far beyond the sound of morning, the divine smiles. If you feel this truth, write 333 inches the comments. It is the sign of your covenant, your living flame, your vow to walk as both human and holy. You have entered the covenant of light, but the world has seen the dawn before, and it will not remain silent forever. The next chapter begins when light meets resistance. The chosen one, this is not the beginning, and it is not the end. This is the return. The air is still. The world holds its breath. Between night and dawn, the horizon glows faintly, as if heaven itself is waiting for your next heartbeat. You feel it, a quiet, steady pulse that no longer burns, no longer trembles. The divine fire has softened. What once roared inside you now rests as warmth behind your ribs. Alive, yet calm. You are not ascending, you are arriving. Every trial has led you here. The silence that stripped you bare, the shadow that mirrored your fear, the fire that remade you, and the covenant that bound your soul to purpose. You have walked through revelation and ruin. You have faced both heaven's voice and your own. Now, you are asked for nothing more, only to be. You open your eyes, light spills across your hands, gentle, ordinary, human. For the first time, you do not reach for it. You let it rest there, belonging not to gods, not to destiny, but to you. The truth unfolds softly. You were never chosen to leave the world. You were chosen to love it. The storm has passed. The fire no longer demands your strength. You walk outside and feel the wind move against your skin, cool and familiar. The earth beneath your feet hums with quiet power. You realize that divinity was never hidden in temples or visions. It was here all along, breathing through every blade of grass, every heartbeat, every broken thing made whole again. You whisper, so this is the end? And a voice your own, yet not your own answers. No, this is peace. You remember the darkness that once terrified you. Now it feels like home too. You understand that shadow was never your enemy. It was your teacher. Without it, light would have been blind. Without pain, compassion could not bloom. You kneel not in worship, but in gratitude. You thank the silence for teaching you to listen, the shadow for showing you truth, the fire for burning away illusion, and the covenant for reminding you to serve, not to rule. Then, you thank yourself for staying, for breaking, for healing, for daring to believe that even the smallest flicker of light can redeem an entire life. The wind rises, carrying one final whisper through your spirit. You no longer need to search for me. You have become the place where I dwell. Tears fall, but they are not sorrow. They are release. You smile quiet, unshaken. Above you, the first light of dawn breaks open the horizon. It doesn't blind you anymore. It greets you as an equal. You feel its warmth on your face and realize the distance between heaven and earth has vanished. You are both. You walk forward, barefoot, toward the living world. The sound of children laughing, the hum of traffic, the murmur of morning prayers. Everything feels sacred again. Every breath, every heartbeat, every fleeting second is a prayer fulfilled. You no longer need prophecy. You no longer need to prove worth. You are the answer you once begged for. You are the silence and the song, the darkness and the flame, the mortal and the divine. You turn one last time toward the fading stars and whisper, I am here. The light does not reply. It simply shines, and you finally shine with it. If you feel this truth, write 333 inches the comments, not as a spell, not as a code, but as remembrance that you, too, are both the storm and the stillness, the question and the answer, the return and the light itself.